Crash course on Canada Convoy Protest in Ottawa. The Canada Convoy Protest, also known as the United We Roll Convoy, was a national protest organized by a group of truckers and supporters from across Canada. The protest took place in Ottawa, the capital city of Canada, from February 19 to 20, 2019. The event was aimed at drawing attention to various issues facing the Canadian trucking industry and also to protest against certain policies of the Canadian government. Purpose. The main purpose of the Canada Convoy Protest was to raise awareness about the challenges facing the trucking industry in Canada, particularly in the western provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan. The protesters were also calling for a change in government policies that they believe have negatively impacted the industry, such as the carbon tax and new regulations on trucking. Organization. The protest was organized by a group of truckers from across Canada, led by Glenn Carrott, a small business owner from Alberta. The group used social media to coordinate and mobilize support for the protest, which eventually grew to include thousands of truckers and supporters from all over the country. Leadership. Glenn Carrott was the primary leader of the protest, although other trucking industry leaders also spoke at the event. Carrott is a small business owner who operates a trucking company in Alberta and has been an outspoken critic of the Canadian government's policies on the trucking industry. Timeline. The Canada Convoy Protest took place over 2 days, from February 19 to 20, 2019. The protesters began their journey in Alberta and Saskatchewan, driving their trucks in a convoy all the way to Ottawa, where they held a rally on Parliament Hill. Outcomes. The Canada Convoy Protest succeeded in drawing attention to the challenges facing the Canadian trucking industry, as well as raising awareness about the concerns of small business owners and other groups who feel marginalized by government policies. The protest also highlighted the important role that the trucking industry plays in the Canadian economy, as many businesses rely on trucking to transport goods across the country. The Canada Convoy Protest did not result in any major policy changes by the Canadian government, although it did prompt some discussion about the issues raised by the protesters. The protest also sparked a debate about the role of social media and political activism and the use of technology to organize and mobilize grassroots movements. Consequences. The Canada Convoy Protest sparked controversy and division among Canadians, with some people supporting the protesters and others criticizing them for their tactics and demands. The protest also highlighted the growing polarization in Canadian politics and the challenges of addressing complex policy issues in a rapidly changing world. Impact on Canadian. The Canada Convoy Protest had a significant impact on Canadians, particularly those in the trucking industry and small business community. The protest raised awareness about the challenges facing these groups and highlighted the need for greater support and recognition from the government. The protest also drew attention to the power of grassroots movements and the potential for social media to mobilize and organize large-scale protests. Interesting examples. One interesting aspect of the Canada Convoy Protest was the role of social media in organizing and mobilizing support for the event. The protest was largely organized through Facebook and other social media platforms, with thousands of people joining the convoy and attending the rally in Ottawa. This highlights the growing importance of social media in political activism and the potential for technology to empower grassroots movements. Another interesting example is the impact of the protest on the Canadian economy. The trucking industry plays a vital role in transporting goods across the country, and disruptions to the industry can have significant economic consequences. The Canada Convoy Protest drew attention to the importance of the industry and highlighted the need for greater support and recognition from the government. Another interesting example or story from the protest is the case of Glenn Carrott, a former organizer of the convoy who was ousted by the United We Roll group after he allegedly mismanaged the funds raised for the protest. Carrott claimed that he was the victim of a coup and that the group was taken over by extremists and radicals. He also accused the group of lying about the number of vehicles in the convoy and inflating the costs of the protes. Carrott later launched his own rival convoy, called the True North Convoy, which also drove to Ottawa but with a much smaller turnout. Another interesting example or story from the protest is the case of a hot tub that was set up at the intersection of Wellington and Elgin Streets in Ottawa, near the Parliament Hill, by some protesters who wanted to make a statement and have some fun free. The hot tub was powered by a generator and filled with water from a nearby fire hydrant 3. The protesters invited anyone to join them in the hot tub, regardless of their political views or vaccination status 3. The hot tub became a symbol of the protest's festive and defiant spirit, as well as a source of amusement and criticism from the public and the media. The hot tub was eventually removed by the city officials on February 7, 2022, after they deemed it a health and safety hazard. The protesters vowed to bring it back and continue their occupation until their demands were met. In conclusion, the Canada Convoy Protest was a significant event in Canadian history that highlighted the challenges facing the trucking industry and small businesses in Canada. It also sparked a debate about government policies and the role of social media in political activism. While the protest did not result in any major policy changes, it did raise awareness about the issues facing these groups and demonstrated the power of grassroots movements in Canadian society. The Canada Convoy Protest also had some negative consequences, particularly in terms of the division and polarization it caused among Canadians. The protest was criticized by some for its tactics and demands, while others supported the protesters and their cause. This highlights the challenges of addressing complex policy issues in a diverse and rapidly changing society. Overall, the Canada Convoy Protest was a significant event in Canadian history that raised important issues and sparked debate about government policies and the role of grassroots movements in political activism. While it did not result in any major policy changes, it highlighted the challenges facing the trucking industry and small businesses in Canada, and the need for greater support and recognition from the government. We hope this video has given you a taste of all the incredible experiences Canada has to offer. If you're ready to start planning your own adventure to Canada, please ensure to use our booking.com referral link. https://www.booking.com/index.html?aid equals 79893335 to book your flights, hotels, car rentals, local attractions, and more. It's an easy and kind way to support this channel and make sure you get the best possible deals on your trip. Thank you. Anhub Metaverse team at Vancouver, Canada, CA.